The macroenvironment consists of the larger societal forces that have an impact on the microenvironment and contains 6 different factors that will have either a positive or negative effect to the company. These include the demographic environment, economic environment, natural environment, technological environment, political environment, and the cultural environment. Although all of these have an impact on the breakfast cereal industry, I'll be choosing 2 major factors that have the largest impact. The demographic environment plays a considerable role in all industry and makes up the general population. Demography is the study of human population in terms of size, density, location, age, gender, race, and occupation. When analysing the breakfast cereal, we'll be focusing on age and gender to see how these influence the consumption of goods. This figure here indicates gender and how it is influencing the breakfast industry in Australia. On average, 77.2% of Australians are eating breakfast minimum 5 days per week. As you can see, there is a significant decrease in females aged 12 to 25 and males aged 19 to 24 who are not eating as much breakfast in comparison to the rest of the market. In this instant, it is not wise to be marketing breakfast products and more specifically cereal to these age brackets. Instead, we want to focus the targeting on 2 to 11-year-olds and 45 to 65-year-olds plus. Ready-to-eat cereals is the largest segment of breakfast cereals in Australia, accounting for 87.4% of the total market value. One of the other main contributing factors to the breakfast cereal industry in Australia is the natural environment. The natural environment is natural resources that are needed as inputs by marketers or that affect marketing activities. Because wheat and grains are such large ingredients in breakfast cereals, the price and availability can greatly impact the performance of the industry. If the production costs for wheat and grains rise, the maintenance costs will increase, but it might not necessarily affect the price that consumers are paying, as this will have a decrease in demand and a loss in revenue. The possibilities bushfires, floods, and droughts are also a huge risk for potential investors looking to invest into the industry. Wheat production in various regions of the world are frequently affected by water shortages. Consumer buying behaviour refers to the buying behaviour of final customers, individuals and households that buy goods and services for personal consumption. The consumer market for breakfast cereals in Australia generated $1,334 million of profits in 2018, with an annual compound growth rate of 4.5% between 2014 and 2018. Consumers of every industry are heavily influenced by characteristics that are the deciding factor on whether or not they will purchase an item. These characteristics can include cultural, social, personal, and psychological factors. One which has major influence over the breakfast cereal industry and the consumers is personal, including age groups, lifestyle stage, and economic situations. For example, younger kids are generally influenced by cereals that have a larger sugar content, and older consumers are influenced by cereals that have more nutritional values such as fibre and are drawn to more brand-based cereals. 9.3% of males aged 65 and over and 12.8% of females aged 55 and over ate brand-based cereals, compared to only 2.1% of males and 2.3% of females aged 25 to 4. Culture and cultural groups also have a huge impact on who is buying breakfast cereals in Australia. People with similar ethnic backgrounds can share certain values and beliefs, one for being food preferences. Ethnic food is a vital focus of social interaction during group gatherings. This can then influence buying from consumers in different parts of Australia dependent on their cultural formation. Currently, Australia holds 34.3% of the Asia-Pacific breakfast cereal market value. In this industry, it would be a beneficial decision for marketers to consider consumer behaviour from an advertising point of view, identifying the parts of the market that it can serve best and most profitably. By doing this, they are able to appeal more to their target audience. For example, creating more joyful and animated commercials and packaging and signage for a younger audience, and a more simplified advertise to older demographics. Although these factors are of importance when considering whether to invest in a market or not, they are able to enter the market without the consideration of consumer behaviour. Because breakfast cereal is seen as such a huge staple in Australian households, The consumer market will always be there and always be visible. Demand will typically increase when a product goes on sale, therefore creating more of a revenue if advertised on sale regularly. End consumers are likely to display brand loyalty, which will exert a pull-through on retailers, as they are forced to stock the most popular products and brands in order to meet consumer demand. For a company wanting to invest into the breakfast cereal industry of Australia, they must analyse both the potential risks and advantages involved. Investors are able to make a considerable profit if they choose to invest with the correct marketing strategies. As this figure shows, the market value forecast from 2018 to 2023 is estimated to be at 4.8%, with a $350 million increase in profits, totaling to a value of $1,684 million, with an increase of 26.3% since 2018. This shows that the breakfast cereal industry has a steady growth rate and will continue a revenue for investors. After completing a macroenvironmental analysis on the breakfast cereal industry of Australia, my recommendations are that a company should choose to invest into this industry. Breakfast cereals are a growing market, and if wanting to make a considerable profit within the breakfast cereal industry, it is suggested that marketers do consider the consumer behaviour, as it will give them an advantage to enter the market, although as discussed it is not completely necessary and revenue will still be present, but without the potential to see a substantial amount of growth.